Oh, 6 p.m. and I call this special meeting of the San Benito County Planning Commission to order. If we could please read the temporary procedures.
The San Benito.
We have to change the definition of temporary. Or is it going to be indefinite? Okay. Please proceed.
The San Benito County Planning Commission welcomes your comment. Each individual speaker would be limited to a presentation total of 3 minutes. When addressing the commission via Zoom, phone, or in chambers, please state your name and county in which you reside for the record. Please address the commission as a whole through the chair. If participating via Zoom, select the participant tab and click the raise hand icon. If you are using a phone, please press star 9 to raise your hand. When your turn arrives, you will hear that you have been unmuted. If you are participating in person at the chambers, please complete a speaker card identifying the item on which you wish to speak and provide your completed card to the clerk prior to consideration of the item. Speaker cards are available on the table at the entrance to the chambers.
Thank you. Pledge of Allegiance. Commissioner Scagliotti, if you could lead us in the pledge, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If we could get a roll call, please.
District 1, Rodney Bianchi.
Present.
District 2, Richard Way.
Present.
District 3, Robert Scagliotti.
Present.
District 4, Robert Gibson.
Present.
District 5, Celeste Toledo Bocanegro.
Present.
All commissioners present in chambers.
Thank you. Is there any general public comment for any items that are under the purview of the Planning Commission but not on the agenda?
We have one public comment via Zoom. JPGM, you have been unmuted.
Hi, my name is Juan Pablo. I'm just here to listen in on a future on a item coming up later, but on Zoom, I can barely hear you at all, and I can't see anything. Not sure if there's supposed to be a video or at least something showing on the screen, but the audio is barely audible. Just thought you should know. Thank you.
We appreciate that. We'll be working on it. Consent agenda. Certificate of posting. Can we get a motion for the consent agenda, please? Oh, can you hear us and see us now, sir? If you could.
Yeah, that's much better. Thanks. I can see and hear.
Great. Thank you so much.
So moved.
So, okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Consent agenda is approved 5-0. Regular agenda 5.1. An informational presentation on the notice of preparation of an EIR for the Ranch 35 Quarry Project.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the Planning Commission, members of the audience. Good evening. Abraham Prado, Director of Planning and Building Services. We would like to thank you for having this special Planning Commission meeting, which in essence is a scoping meeting for the Ranch 35 project, as you mentioned. And so today, what we would like to do is we will provide a presentation. Staff, along with Benchmark Services, Benchmark Resources, as you know, is the consultant for the County of San Benito on all mining operations, all mining matters. And so, at first, we would like to provide a project overview of the project, and that's going to be provided by our principal planner, Ariel Goodspeed. And then we'll have Monica Krupa of Benchmark Resources provide a overview of the environmental process, the environmental impact report. It's going to be an overview of everything that we would want to include pursuant to the California Environmental Quality Act. And then if it's okay with you, Mr. Chair, we would request that you open up the public comment period so we can hear the any member of the public provide any comments, and also any member of the responsible agencies who may be in attendance, either in person or via Zoom, to provide any comments. And not to say that this would be the only time that we would take in comments for the notice of preparation. We'll, at the end of the presentation, we'll have a slide indicating the deadline of when to receive comments for the notice of preparation of the environmental impact report. And we'll have an email address, and we'll have an actual physical address to be able to mail those that information to us. Just before we proceed with the project overview, just a few housekeeping items. Please take a moment for any member of the audience to sign in if you'd like. There's a sign-in sheet at the table up in the front. And if you'd like to receive any type of information regarding the EIR, such as being on the distribution list, please be sure to indicate that. And also visit our comment station. We'll have two forms, one in yellow for public comments. Anybody who wants to address the commission to provide a comment once public comment period is open. And then there's also going to be a blue sheet or blue form as well for any written comments, and we would appreciate those written comments as well. Your verbal comments would be taken into consideration regardless, but it would be great to have that blue form as well. And then also, you may also email your comments as indicated earlier, or mail your comments. At the end, we'll have a slide indicating that information. And for anybody in the audience who would like Spanish translation, we would be able to provide that as well upon request. As you can see in the slides, all the information is both in English and in Spanish. So if any member of the public would like to come in at a later time and look at the presentation, that information will be there, and we'll be able to provide that information upon request. So with that being said, we will now have a project overview of Ranch 35 by our principal planner, Aero Goodspeed, and then it's going to be followed by the environmental overview by our consultant, Monica Krupa of Benchmark Resources. Yeah.
We're having technical difficulties. It'll be just a few moments.
Hi, good evening. Ariel Goodspeed, Principal Planner for the county. I'm just going to go through just a brief overview of Ranch 35 project description and operations that are being proposed. So the project site is located. It's northwest of San Juan Bautista. It's east of Highway 101 and north of 156. And I do have a close-up on the next slide here. So it's about it's a 271 acre parcel, of which the project site impact will be of 204 acres, and it's immediately east of the US 101 and Highway 156 interchange in San Juan Bautista. So the project, their discretionary approvals as part of this process is to approve a use permit and a reclamation plan that would develop, operate, and reclaim new aggregate mining and processing operation. The operation includes mining, processing of materials, and recycling operation. It would occur in phases over 75 year period with a maximum annual sales not to exceed 1 million tons. The operations would involve vegetation removal, stripping and stockpiling of topsoil and overburden, and aggregate removal. Drilling and blasting to break up aggregate material for excavation is not proposed. Mined aggregate would be transported by haul trucks to a processing plant south of the active pit via an internal access road, which I'll show on a later slide. The processing of the aggregate would include the use of crushers, screens, conveyors to reduce, sort, and stockpile the aggregate. A recycle plant would be located in the processing plant area, and it does not propose an asphalt plant or ready-mix concrete plant as part of the operations. Hours of operation would be Monday through Saturday, 6:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. for the mining and the processing plant. As far as the truck, queuing and material loading would be Monday through Saturday, 4 a.m. to 5 p.m. And it would employ approximately 25 people. Most of those would be transferring over from the Stevens Creek quarry that is going to be closing within the next few years. So this, as I mentioned in the previous slide, this traffic would enter and exit from the site via private access road and connect straight onto State Highway 156. So the black dashed line that's up at the top is the project property boundary. That private roadway easement location goes all the way down as the blue arrows are indicating in that gray dashed line, and then there's an existing access onto Highway 156. So it would not be on any county roads. So upon completion of the proposed mining, as required under SMARA regulations, the site would be reclaimed as to grazing land in accordance with the reclamation plan. Grazing is going to actually be coexisting the entire length of the 75 years, and it just will be moving to portions that are not actively being mined. So it's always going to maintain grazing, and then we'll be fully grazing at the end of the 75 years. The quarry will be partially backfilled with materials and revegetated as required under the reclamation plan. And now I'd like to bring up Monica to go over the environmental process.
Good evening, Chair, members of the Commission, and members of the public joining us tonight in person and remotely. My name is Monica Krupa. As stated earlier, I am with Benchmark Resources, the county's consultant for mining-related matters. I'm here to present all of you with an overview of the environmental review process to which the proposed project will be subject. The California Environmental Quality Act requires that public agencies provide the public with an environmental review of the potential impacts of a proposed project. The San Benito County Resource Management Agency is the lead agency for the Ranch 35 Quarry project and has determined that the project should be evaluated under an environmental impact report. The environmental impact report is the most detailed level of review under the California Environmental Quality Act. So the purpose of an environmental impact report is to provide information to decision makers and the public regarding the potential environmental impacts of a project. The document must identify ways to mitigate or avoid any potential impacts identified, and it must also evaluate alternatives to a proposed project that would achieve the same or similar objectives to the project. So I will present in the next slide an overview of the entire process, but I wanted to point out that the first step of the process is a scoping of the project. The county has already published a notice of preparation of an environmental impact report and is now holding a scoping meeting. And the purpose of this scoping process is first to notify the public and public agencies of the project that's proposed, to provide a summary of the project, and then very importantly to obtain feedback from the public and public agencies on what environmental issue they want to see addressed in the environmental document. So as I stated before, the first step of this process is the scoping process, in which we will hopefully receive feedback from agencies and from the public on the environmental issues that the environmental document should evaluate. After that time, the county staff will work with Benchmark Resources to prepare the administrative draft environmental impact report that will be reviewed internally and then publicly circulated for a 45-day comment period, during which time members of the public and public agencies have the opportunity to review the document and provide comments and feedback. Once the comments are received, the county staff will compile all the comments into one document and will develop responses to every comment received on the potential environmental impact analysis. The comment document with the responses is part of the final environmental impact report. That report is then provided to public decision makers. It must be circulated at least 10 days prior to the public hearing. And then after the circulation of the final EIR, the public decision makers, in this case, the Planning Commission, the San Benito County Planning Commission, and maybe the San Benito County Board of Supervisors will make a decision on whether or not to approve the project. So in that process I just showed, I want to emphasize that there are several opportunities for public comment. The first is in this scoping meeting and in the scoping period that's happening right now, wherein we ask the public and agencies to provide feedback on what issues and environmental impacts they would like to see the environmental impact report address. After the draft EIR is released, there is a minimum 45-day period for comments on the document itself. And then there will be opportunities for the public and agencies to comment during public hearings when the decision is being made on whether or not to approve the project. So as an overview of what to expect in an environmental impact report, I wanted to describe the key elements. The first is a detailed project description. It will be a lot more detailed, than anything that's being presented right now. It's going to have the level of detail necessary to complete a thorough environmental review of the project. For every resource topic, there will be an environmental settings section, an evaluation of potential environmental effects, and as appropriate mitigation measures. The document will disclose any significant and unavoidable effects that could not be reduced to a less than significant level through mitigation. The document will also provide a broader perspective by evaluating growth-inducing impacts and potential cumulative impacts of the project and any other projects in the area. And then lastly, the project EIR will evaluate alternatives to the proposed project that could potentially meet the same or similar objectives while reducing potential environmental impacts that were identified in the review process. So in terms of what determines an EIR focus, there's a general guidance in the California Environmental Quality Act guidelines. However, we also will take into consideration, and this is why this meeting is so important, is responses to the notice of preparation, feedback provided on what the environmental impact report should include during the scoping meeting, and also any feedback provided by agencies and experts throughout this scoping process and in the preparation of the environmental impact report. So this is a comprehensive list of the environmental resource topics that must be evaluated as required by the CEQA guidelines. Regardless of what input is provided, these issues must be evaluated. Based on a preliminary review, based on the preliminary review, we anticipate that the 5 topics shown on this slide will have less than significant impacts and will not require detailed evaluation. However, this is just a preliminary assessment, and any reasoning for concluding less than significant impacts will still be documented in the EIR and can still be commented upon. So with that, I'm turning to the first slide of the purpose of this meeting, and the reason we're here is that we are in the first step, the scoping process, and this is an opportunity for county to receive input from the public and any agencies on the environmental issues that the EIR should address. This slide and the next slide in Spanish have the contact information where people can provide written comments, and written comments are encouraged. I will also be taking notes of any public comments received in person or via Zoom today, and those will all be required to be incorporated into the environmental impact report. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you have any questions, or if you'd like to open it up to public comment?
Nothing from the applicant themselves, no presentation.
Jason, do you have anything you would like to add? Okay.
Okay. Then we'll go to public comment.
There appears to be no public comment via Zoom or in chambers.
He just wanted to comment that he couldn't hear or see anything. That was his comment.
He said, I want to speak on something, but I want to let you guys know that I can't hear.
Go ahead and ask if JPGM, if he has a comment.
JPGM, would you like to provide a comment?
No, I just wanted to say in the beginning that I couldn't see or hear anything, and that was fixed. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. As usual. Ms. Salinas?
Thank you, Mr. Chair and commissioners. So I guess I'm going to do the warning because I know you guys are already going to prepare yourselves for pork to come in here and start talking about why this property should not be used for these purposes. For the next 75 years, I know that they're saying that they're only going to do something, but obviously in 10 years, 20 years, 25 years, something else can happen. And so we don't know what the future holds, but I believe that this project, with the funds that they're saying for the tax sales would be $1 million, I would be very interested in finding out what are the sales in Santa Clara County as opposed to what they were being in San Benito County. What is the difference? Because I would obviously, new economic development is we want to get as much money as possible, so I don't know how that'll come about. It'll come about in the future, but for something for the applicant to think about. We also know that the local Mutsun if I'm saying it correctly, are also going to come up and appear here and start showing up with pork about what it's sacred land, and we know that nothing has been done with that property. There was a couple of years ago, they were trying to do a racetrack in that area or near that area. There was talk about that. And so we're also going to expect San Juan Bautista folks. And, you know, either one, I was for the racetrack. I was, you know, let's compete with Laguna Seca. Obviously, that's not in the plan any longer. So based on what's going to happen with the EIR, all I'm saying forwards for you all to think about is the best for the county. Economic development is what we're looking for. And if this can bring it, and if it goes through the EIR process and it goes through this, and I can see lawsuits also for, you know, from pork, because that's the history of them. So I think the property owner should, you know, if he hasn't done his homework, they should be doing their homework for the project people. But it seems like a great idea, but let's find out what happens with the EIR. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
There appears to be no further public comment via Zoom or in chambers.
Okay, public comment is closed. Back to the commission. Commissioners, do you have any questions, comments, concerns at this time? Commissioner Scagliotti?
Yes, can I have a picture of the map again with the road, where the road's going to connect onto 101?
156.
Yes, Highway 156. That then connects to Highway 101 interchange to the north.
Do you have the color, the satellite image, please?
Yeah.
Here.
There.
Can you zoom that in, make
Well.
it bigger? Please.
There was a different one that I think. Oh,
So
So where's it going to tie in at on 156?
here. So this is the. Let's see if I
Oh,
can.
so it goes,
no, it's
yeah.
it's
Oh,
by the
Here's-
acceleration lane by Valero,
Yeah.
isn't it?
So here's the. Can you see the access? Maybe we can blow it up a little bit more. Can you see the access site here from the south part of the boundary
Yeah.
and that easement? So it's going through. And we can also bring up a paper map as well. But it goes through the southern portion of the property, through another property, and then connects onto 156. But we can.
Oh.
Rocks Road, okay. Okay. So when you get onto 156, you're going to be able to cross both east and westbound lanes, or you're just going to be able to go only westbound? You're only going to make a right-hand turn?
My understanding is the majority of their traffic would only be going out 156, turning right, unless
Turning
they have
right.
a specific
To
job.
go either north or south on 101?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it typically would not go into San Juan Bautista unless there was a specific
So it
job.
would be
that
north.
Yeah.
And do they have permission from
West.
state of California to get access onto that road?
There's an existing encroachment already for the existing properties there's a driveway already there, a gated
Oh, that's where the
driveway.
people dump the.
Yeah.
It's that little, right to the eucalyptus street.
But our assumption is,
Up
we haven't
there.
gone through the traffic analysis, but they'll need some sort of probably traffic improvements there at that driveway. It's just a typical residential driveway.
Okay, it's further north than I was imagining.
On a map here, it's not going to impact the traffic going into San Juan.
Mhm.
No, the main traffic will not be going into San Juan.
Any other questions, comments at this time? Commissioner Scagliotti?
No, thank you.
No. Commissioner Bianchi?
I'm good.
Commissioner Toledo?
Go ahead.
Commissioner Way?
Okay, sorry. I just want to make sure that I'm understanding. At first, I was a little surprised that there was a mention that you didn't expect to have to address mineral resources as part of this in the EIR. But I'm guessing that then, probably shouldn't do that, that's because this project is not expected to have a material impact on the mineral resources of the county as a whole. In other words, this doesn't remove enough minerals or anything like that to make it matter. Is that more or less the reasoning?
More or less. I mean, this isn't causing a negative impact to mineral resources.
Okay, all right, thanks.
Commissioner Way, was that it from you for now? Okay, Commissioner Toledo?
Okay, thank you. So I have two questions. One was already answered. That was my concern about the private road and then going on to 156 West. So that's good. I still have concern because of traffic. The American or just the individual worker is just tired of traffic and commuting from home. So that I'm worried about just how many trucks are going to be coming in and out from that area.
So we can talk about it a little bit. And I can bring up Jason if he wants to address it even a little bit further. But currently, the employees located at Stevens Creek, which is kind of off School Road area, on the other side of 101, an existing quarry, and so a lot of them are local to the area, and so basically you'd be transferring those employees that are going across the freeway to this side of the freeway. Does that help answer the question?
Sort of.
And then as far as truck trips, it's 25 employees, so you're looking at 50 vehicle trips in and out of the site. And then as far as truck loads per day, I don't have that memorized off the top of my head. I don't think we have a set number because there's variables. It won't be exactly the same each day.
And that's my concern because the congestion, we just keep adding, just a little bit more and a little bit more to the commuter and the everyday person who comes home from Santa Clara or, further into San Benito County. And that's just something, their commute just makes it longer. That's just my concern. But also moving forward, the next question would be, so this property is owned by the applicant?
Yes.
Yes, they own that property, right?
Yes.
So then the tribal land or any other group or member pork have no say, right?
So I'm going to just kind of correct that a little bit just to make sure it's a little bit clear on the process. So anytime you conduct a discretionary project approval and go through that process, if it's a project like this, you're going to, under state law, do AB 52.
Oh, that's right, the state.
If we were doing like a general plan amendment, then it would be SB 18. We have actually already begun consultation with the Mamatzan tribe, and that is underway. As of yet, I have not heard from the group referred to as
so unless they come forward, then
we again we publicly notice all project. All project materials are on the website, and they have like their own website link for this project, so it can be viewed easily by the public. I can bring it up too if you want to see where that's at. And again, we have multiple opportunities for anyone to comment on the project, the environmental impact report. And those get taken into consideration here during the notice of preparation and scoping process. Also, all of those comments are documented in that final environmental impact report and are responded to.
Okay, we'll wait. Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Way?
Yeah, I just wanted to point out that I share the concern about traffic, obviously, but I do recognize that it will be addressed in the EIR under transportation most likely, but I know that this is something that is typically, does typically come forward as part of the EIR process and on comments. So again, thank you. I'm certainly willing to see what develops in that area. So.
Yeah, we are putting together a variety of specialized studies. Once we have final drafts of those studies, they're going to be made publicly available to be reviewed.
Anything else, Commissioner Way?
No, I'm good.
Okay. The Williams Quarry, I would assume, and it says diminish, but it's still in operation, I would assume, or those 25 employees are twiddling their thumbs. How much longer is that quarry operating for?
It varies, but I think we're approximately looking at 2 years.
Okay, okay. And going back to the question from the member of the public, the sales tax, is that generated in San Benito County for the quarries that are located here?
The tax is based on production, not sales on that peak number of 1 million tons. There wasn't 1 million tons, it was 1 million tons, and that's what generates a fee for, I believe, the RMA department and sales.
Okay, so you're not collecting sales tax on the product, is that what?
Locally, we would, and we're working on a economic analysis for the project right now to provide.
Okay. Fantastic. Is there going to be solar proposed at this site to offset the draw from all the crushers and other equipment?
Not currently.
Not currently right now, it's a REG diesel fuel, which is a fully renewable diesel fuel that we're going to be proposing for the project.
Okay. Okay. And it says drilling and blasting is not proposed. What does that mean? Is it going to be disallowed? Is it, where are we
So-
with that language? It's kind of
It
vague.
So it will be part of the project description on and gets incorporated into the use permit of what's operations are allowed and not allowed. So it'd be not
be
allowed. And if
clarified,
they
okay.
ever wanted to change that, then they would have to go through the process to amend their use permit and also actually amend their reclamation plan if needed.
Okay. Well, if you're going to generate sales tax from these products, being that they're being consumed from our county, I would encourage you to have the sales tax base collected here and paid to our county. Because, you know, the 10 cents is nice, but the sales tax would also be a good thing for our roads and whatnot. Okay, we got that. Reclamation, I guess we'll flesh that out a little further, because it says basically the reclamation will be grazing land, but there may or may not be any backfill, so I was just curious what that would look like. And I would like to strongly suggest that as a group, we get a tour of the facility to further understand what it looks like, because looking at a piece of paper, you can't really see the contours. I have a vague idea of what it is back there. It looks like it's a deep valley, but I would like to take a tour of the facility sooner rather than later.
Absolutely, we can get those tours scheduled right away. We've already had some supervisors and others out to the site, different consulting groups that are doing some of the special studies. We've already scheduled out to the site. The tribe's gone out to the site so we can get you out there. And then I just wanted to add a little bit about reclamation. So there are some requirements about leveling off slopes and revegetation and the types of materials to revegetate. So that the specifics get put into the final product.
Okay. And my last thing was, it was in there for a second. I didn't write it down. Well, did you have something, Commissioner Bianchi?
I do, and I don't know if it's something that we have any say over or anything, but 25 employees is fantastic. But I guess my concern is, are those 25 employees, are they making enough to live in San Benito County? I mean, to improve projects that we're bringing business, that's fantastic. But if they can't make enough and they've got to go live over in the valley, so now we're taking people away from here. They can't afford to live here. They're going to the valley, so that adds to your traffic problem. So I would like to see any projects that we do approve, that these people are making at least enough money to live in San Benito County. Now, maybe they all do. I'm not picking on you. I'm just saying, I think as a board, it's something we need to look at is, are these people making enough to live here? And if they're not, then maybe we don't approve your project, or you need to step it up and start paying these people enough money. Again, I don't know if it's something that we even have the authority to do, but I just think it's something we need to look at.
I'll let Jason add, but this is a family-run business, multi-generational. They have people that have been there for decades with the business. So I think that kind of shows the type of business that and how they treat their employees. But I'll let Jason, if he wants to add anything to that.
Yes, our
Oh,
Could you
sorry.
repeat that for the?
Just because Zoom can't pick you up.
Thank you, Commissioners. Yes, our employees, all of our operators are Local 3 Operating Engineer Union. Our laborers are the 270 Laborers Union. We have a lot of long-term employees in our company. A lot of guys have been with us 20 years, 25 years. We have operations in San Jose, up in Sonoma, Sunnyvale, and in Cupertino. Of our guys that are working at those sites, I don't have a number off the top of my head, but I would be confident saying 70% of them live in San Benito County, and they afford the living down here, and they're having to commute north to come to work to our sites. So this would be a good site for us, and our employees, a lot of them are got their fingers crossed that would like to work closer to home. So as far as a site visit, I would love to have everyone out. Some questions about reclamation. With the site visit of the Ranch 35 project, I would like to also, while we were all together, go by our Williams Quarry project. As the deposit there is diminishing, we are doing phases of reclamation right now, so it'd be a great example of closing out a quarry site, seeing the revegetation going on, the sloping, grading, drainage going on, and it's a great example to go by and see the end of a project, end life of a project, while looking at Ranch 35, the beginning of a new project.
Fantastic. Thank you for the responses. Oh, Commissioner Way?
I just want to point out that I think it's true, and it might not be, that we're going to have to do the site visit in 2 batches for the simple reason that we can't have a quorum of commissioners present, otherwise it becomes a meeting.
I can fix that. I just have to notice that we're having a special
Oh,
meeting
okay.
that's a site visit meeting.
Okay.
And so
Okay,
if
great.
you would prefer that we do it that way, I can.
No, I would prefer to do it as, I'd prefer to do it as one group,
Yeah.
but I didn't think we could.
We can. The Brown Act doesn't
Okay.
say we can't be together. We just can't discuss how we're going to vote on a particular issue.
Yep.
All right.
And I just have to post that we're having a site visit meeting.
Okay. Any other comments, questions, or concerns from the commission, or are we going to?
I have one comment. Does that mean that members of the public can join us while we also do that?
That would probably be
Sorry.
problematic, wouldn't it? Because then there's.
I'm just asking. I don't.
We'll have to
I don't-
confirm with our
I will
county
double
council.
check with
It would,
Campbell. I thought
yes.
we-
If it's a public meeting, then the public would be invited, yep.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Sean. I've only had one other site visit. It was for a park.
Okay.
Just wanted to clarify. Thank you.
Wow.
So I can email the commissioners offline about scheduling the site visit.
Sounds good. Any other comments, questions, or concerns, or is there a motion to adjourn?
A motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
We have a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. We are adjourned at 6:45-ish. Thank you. Thank you for coming. Look forward to seeing you soon.
Look forward to the money.